right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start Chapter 4, Lesson 4.1, and we're going to classify triangles. Chapter 4 is going to take a look at a lot of different features of triangles, beyond just the fact that they have three sides. And so what we're going to do is classify triangles. Think of how you classify animals into species and all of the categories that you do that you used in biology last year. We're going to do the same thing by triangles. We're going to classify them into a specific group. We're going to look at their sides and their measures. All right, so our vocabulary. Triangle is a geometric figure formed by three segments joining three non-collinear points. So the 3 points cannot all be in the same line. Two of them will be collinear, but then the third point will not be. And then vertex. It's the point that joins two sides of the triangle. So we've got this geometric figure that's formed by three segments. Those three segments meet at a point, and that point is called the vertex. This is where we find the angle. So when we talk about vertex, we often think of it as the angle. The vertex is actually a point. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. Classification of triangles by sides. We have one that's called an equilateral triangle. Hopefully when you look at that, you're seeing the word equal. Lateral is referring to sides. So we have equal sides. They show that because all three of the sides are marked as congruent. And so for an equilateral triangle, they have three congruent sides. Isosceles triangle, if you notice, we only have two sides with congruency marks on it. So isosceles has two. And then scalene, there's no congruency marks, so there are no congruent sides. So those are the names that we use for classifying triangles by sides: equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. If you think of this, these are brand new words for our vocabulary because we haven't studied anything about sides. When we look at the next category, we're going to be able to categorize by angle, and this is where we start recognizing some words because we've already studied angles. So if we look at our first one, we have this equiangular. Once again, we've added that equal, so it's equal angles. All three angles are equal, so we have three congruent angles. An acute triangle, think of what we know as acute. For that, all right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that. I noticed a typo and my board shut off. But equiangular will have three congruent angles, all marked as being congruent. Acute triangle, we can have equal angles, but what makes it an acute triangle is that there's three acute angles. So three angles less than 90 degrees. A right triangle means there is one right angle. I can't have any more than one right angle. Of course, it doesn't make a triangle. And then I've got two acute angles in there. Obtuse is one obtuse angle, so one angle greater than 90 degrees. And the other two would be acute. So like I said, this doesn't add a whole lot of new vocabulary because we're already familiar with acute, right, and obtuse. All right, so example one, we need to classify the triangle by its sides. So if I look at example A, we have a 2-inch, a 3-inch, and a 4-inch side. Because this triangle has no congruent sides, it is scalene. Yes, we will make flashcards. Yes, we will work on vocab. If we look at B, we have 4 feet, 4 feet, and 4 feet. It has three congruent sides. And so if you need to flip back to the previous page, that was equilateral. Equal sides, equilateral. And then if we look at C, we have two 6-centimeter sides and then a 4-centimeter side. So we found two congruent sides, and that is isosceles. All right, we're going to sound those out and give it our best shot at spelling. But if we have no congruent sides, all three different measures, that's scalene. If we have three congruent sides, that's equilateral, and two congruent sides, isosceles. Example 2. Classify the triangle by angles and sides. So now we're going to give it two names. So we're going to first look at the angle. So if we look at triangle A, it has a 40-degree angle, and then it has two 70-degree angles. It has two congruent sides. So we look there, we've got the congruent sides. So because the triangle has three angles with measures less than 90 degrees, 40, 70, and 70, it is acute. And because it has two congruent sides, it is isosceles. And so we call it an acute isosceles triangle. If we look at B, we can see that we have the 90-degree angle marked, so we have a right triangle. And then we have 3, 4, and 5-inch sides. So because the triangle has a right angle, it is right. Because it has no congruent sides, it is scalene. And so it is a right scalene triangle. And now if we look at C, we have a 20-degree angle, we have a 30-degree angle, and then we have a 130-degree angle. We have sides measuring 9.9, 6.8, and 15.2. So because the triangle has one angle greater than 90 degrees, it is obtuse. Because it has no congruent sides, it is scalene. And so it is an obtuse, scalene triangle. All right, so we're going to take the look at the follow-up, and we're going to do this in class. So this is a complete in-class problem. I want to talk about that and think about what types can we have, why can't we have other ones. So we'll do this in class on Monday. All right, your checkpoint, ladies and gentlemen, you need to classify by sides, and you need to classify by angles and sides. I am not going to do this with you, but I will tell you that this is example 1. So go back and look at the vocab there. This is example 2. All right, guys, you need to be able to do those checkpoints on your own. So this is a do now, and this is a check in class. You will get 0 points if those are not done. This will be a check in class. Okay, guys? All right, let's go take a look at our last slide. What we want to do is identify parts of the triangles, and so now what we're going to talk about is opposite sides. So we want to identify which side is opposite each angle. So if we look at BC, segment BC, it is opposite angle A. If we take a look at segment, we're going to recognize that this is our mark for segment. So segment AC is opposite angle B. And then AB is opposite angle C. Now, ladies and gentlemen, eventually this should be something that you could do without a diagram. Segments BC go to angle A. If I see BC in my segment, angle A is the side I'm opposite, the letter I don't see. If I see AC in my segment, then I am at opposite angle B because I don't see B in my segment. And if I'm opposite segment AB, then I'm opposite C, the vertex I don't see there. All right? Enjoy and have a wonderful weekend.